If you've heard of Canada, you probably have heard of how beautiful the nature is, how friendly the people are, and that it's maybe cold sometimes here. All of those things are true. So then what do I have to complain about? What makes Canada boring? Let's get into it. The infrastructure. Canada is a country that caters to old people and large corporations. Did you know that 1 in 5 Canadians is at least 65 years old? And that's who owns the majority of the wealth in the country. Canada also has the second largest franchise industry in the world. What does that mean? If you need medicine, you go to Shoppers Drug Mart. If you need groceries, you go to Save On Foods, Loblaws, Superstore, Walmart, or if you want to save money like me, you go to Costco. While in other countries you might get your veggies from a small mom and pop shop, you can chit chat with the owners, get to know them. Here I go to Shoppers Drug Mart and there's not even a person to talk to. It's just beep beep, you scan your items and you're out. Also in other countries you might find small restaurants and pubs along the street with outdoor seating. We don't have that here. We lack that kind of culture and infrastructure. To give you an example, one of the most beautiful places you can visit in Vancouver is the seawall. Let me ask you, what can you do at the seawall? You can bike, you can walk. That's it. Speaking of infrastructure, let's talk about transportation. Did you know that it's cheaper to fly outside of Canada than it is to fly within Canada? That's because only Canadian airlines are allowed to operate within the country, and because we're the second largest country in the world with such a small population, any type of transportation is not very good and expensive. The culture. Canada is easily one of the most diverse countries in the world. People here speak many different languages, they also practice different religions, and for the most part, people are respectful of one another. But somehow we all live the same kind of mundane or boring life. We're always stuck with debt. Students are encouraged to go to university and take out a student loan. You then get a corporate job to qualify for a mortgage on a house. You pay off the mortgage in 20 to 30 years. Maybe make a few babies and retire in your 60s. That's the Canadian dream. Furthermore, it's lonely here. We lead a busy and expensive life with 2 weeks vacation in a year. So people struggle to find or make the time to enjoy themselves. A recent study shows that 33% of Canadians feel burnt out. That's huge. That's 1/3 of the population. It also doesn't help that we're an individualistic society. It's cold and places are very spaced out. Also, it closes everywhere at 9 p.m. Shh. So come nighttime, it's difficult to run errands or go out, even if you live in a big city. Finally, I have to mention the recent rise in the culture of being woke. It's not enjoyable to live in a society that's become very defensive and sensitive. I have a friend and she sees a coach, and the coach told her you can't be curious about a person if you're judging them. Now, they were talking about a personal issue, but it relates to our society here today. We've set so many boundaries that we've become distant from one another. And living here, you start to think that the whole world is like this, but then you travel outside of Canada and you realize the conversations we're having here hold little importance outside. It's okay to be welcoming of one another despite our differences, and not just culturally, but in our values, in our ideals, in our thoughts. I think sometimes the beauty of life and the world is through our differences in opinion. We can't force everyone to think the exact same way, and if we try to do so, it creates a culture that's unhealthy and quite toxic. It's expensive. Dinner for 2 will easily cost you more than $100. That's why I don't take her out anymore. Houses are very expensive. They can easily go for more than $1 million, $2 million in and around the big cities in Canada. According to Numbeo, a single person living close to a major city like Mississauga near Toronto, their expenses will go up to $1,200, and that's without rent. Rent will be an additional $1,000 if you're sharing a space with roommates, or more if you're living alone. What's sad is I've looked up the median wage in Canada and it's only $49,900. When it hurts your wallet to go out, it becomes difficult to enjoy where you live. The healthcare system. It's not free, we pay for it from our taxes, and we pay a lot of taxes. If you're in British Columbia making $70,000, you'll pay $15,000 to $16,000 in tax. Now, a little story. Back in December, I got tinnitus in my left ear. Naturally, I was anxious, like, what is that? What do I do? I couldn't book an appointment to see a general practitioner, just a regular doctor, for 2 weeks. And then that doctor wanted to refer me to a specialist but the appointment would take 6 months. I actually haven't even seen the specialist yet. Luckily, I was traveling outside the country. I was in Dubai, so I went to a clinic while I was there with no appointment, by the way, and saw not one, but 2 doctors. I saw an ear, nose, throat specialist, I did a hearing test right there and then I saw a nerve doctor who sat with me for 40 minutes. She talked to me about all my options for my diagnosis, what I can do, what kind of supplementation or medication I can take. It was lovely. I've never had a doctor in Canada sit with me for more than 5 minutes. Sometimes it can feel like a drive-thru at Tim Hortons. And not to mention, the people there were very nice, the facility was beautiful, they even had koi fish. By the way, the entire visit to see both doctors and the hearing tests only cost me $180. Remember, if you're making $70K in BC, you're paying $15,000 in taxes. It costs much less to be insured in another country and go see a private doctor or hospital. I know we pay for taxes for more than just healthcare, but healthcare is important. And recently, not just recently, it's gotten worse. And I think we can do better. Finally, the weather. You probably already know that the winter here is cold, but the issue is it could stretch for so long, for 6 to 8 months. I'm close to Vancouver, Canada, and last year even June was wet and cold. And unfortunately, I'm not a big snowboarder or skier, so that leaves very few activities for me to do outdoors in the winter. I also get the winter blues, so, I try to meditate, take supplements, work out. I even quit drinking, and none of it helped. When I finally travel abroad, get a little bit of sunshine, voila, I feel happy and healthy again. Even if I'm eating crappy food and not getting enough sleep. I just needed a little bit of sunshine. Final words. Look, at the end of the day, Canada is still home. That's where my parents decided to raise our family, and that's the passport I hold. I think it's okay and healthy to criticize our own country, or you might be interested in moving here or living here, and it's important to know that it's not all rainbows and sunshine. Especially the sunshine part. I made this video to validate other people that might be feeling the same way as I do, to let you know that we're not alone. And if you're feeling unwell, it could be something that you gotta work on internally, or it could be your environment. In any case, you let me know. Is Canada boring, or is it just me? Thank you for watching.